Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Victorian realm walkers of all ages, welcome to another exciting episode of You've Already Peaked Gaming Podcast featuring your host, Locar, the DjLobsterDust. Yeah. And featuring me, the Lobster Fuck.
What's up, Lobster Fuck?
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
Why the long face?
That was rough, man. That was rough.
Are we diving into it?
I think
is that the rough that we're talking about?
I think we just start it. That way we can just talk about it, get it done, and then we can just move on to whatever the fuck else we want to talk about.
All right, let's talk about it.
Welcome to this week's podcast where we talk about the game that we have been waiting for
Almost 2 years.
a long fucking time. Nightingale comes out today. So if everybody watching this came out on Tuesday. So we're recording this on Tuesday. It's
February 20th.
It's
2024. Wasn't it slated to come out a year ago?
Yeah, I think it was May or June,
February,
something like that. No, it was like middle of the year, but it wasn't. There was something.
It wasn't officially announced.
Yeah, there was no
they
big.
Were saying,
they were trying to shoot for last year, I think is what they were, and they came to this point. And that's
wasn't it like the first couple episodes of the new year last year? We did what games are you excited for? And we went through a list of things that were supposed to come out.
I remember you had this, and you had brought it up first because you were like, "Have you heard of Nightingale?" I was like, "No, what is this?" Look, I will sit and I will respect, like, after Helldivers and the shit that's been going on with Helldivers, like, okay, let's backtrack even more. Let's just take that step even farther back. Okay, so we've been playing Helldivers, and this has been an experience as well.
Helldivers been great, man.
It's fucking amazing. It's so good. It's so much fun. It's a good party game. It's a good group game. We're kind of getting back to the point where there's like multiple people on trying to play it. And so like we're splitting up and doing groups again. You know what I mean?
Trying being the key word.
Their servers have been borked, dude. Borked. I don't know if Arrowhead anticipated this much of a hype. You know what I mean? Especially coming after Helldivers 1. Because Helldivers 1 originally launched on console. Right. And so it was fine for its time, but it's a very unique game. It was a top-down game. I don't know if like the third person perspective was like their way of like transitioning or if they knew that it was going to be something that would sell, but they have gotten massive success off this game. It's beautiful. It's a ton of fun.
Yeah.
I laugh. I have a good time. It's intense. Every time we drop, it has been nothing but intense the entire time.
It's good.
But because they didn't anticipate the hype that it got, servers have been just full. They haven't been broken. They haven't been
just at capacity.
At capacity.
Like there's just nowhere to go.
So this past weekend they were like, "Oh, we've increased the capacity of servers as much as we can. We've done 450,000 players is what they have set up. We can't go any higher than that or it loses game stability. Like we can't do any more than that." So they're like, "Sorry, it sucked. We know it's been crazy. Here's a double XP weekend, blah, 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 blah."
Which just made their problem even greater.
Even greater, right? And I think that was like, it was good on them to being like, "Hey, we hear the plight. We're going to give you something, right? Here's something to kind of work with it." I think it's Steam alone had at one point 385,000 players of the 450. Because I can't imagine that the servers were only doing servers like 450 per console and PC. It had to have been a combined effort, or there would have been 450,000 people on PC playing, right?
Yeah.
So, woof. I mean, all of Saturday, I think it was all of Saturday. I tried all of Saturday to get in. We were like cheesing it out, join on me, join there, try doing this, like send invites.
For what it's worth, I got in every time.
Yeah. And so did Aaron. Me and Will battled for placing.
Oh, yeah.
It was bad, man. It was bad. It sucked.
At least they addressed it.
They did.
Even beyond the double XP, they were like, if you have heard about our game, if you're seeing all the clips about the game, give it time. Don't spend your money yet, especially not if it's like your last dollar and there's something else you'd rather play. Because as a gamer myself, I would feel terrible to pay money for this game just to sit in queues and possibly not get in.
Absolutely.
Good on you for that.
Good on. I potato that game though. Like it has been nothing but good. And all I want to do is play and continue to like give my support and love for it. You know what I mean? And like I'm okay when a game is like we're maxed at capacity because we didn't realize it was going to be a hit.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? I'm not going to complain about that. You know what I mean? Yeah, sure. It's not Halo. It's not Halo 2, but but the thing is like at that point, like you can't. I mean, you can, but like for me, I can't not still have support and love.
Yeah,
for something like that. That's a respect point. You know what I mean? You guys are at capacity. You didn't expect to hit. There's so many people fucking playing the game that you're just like, we don't know what. It's a holiday weekend. We don't know what to do. We're sorry. Just hang out for us, guys.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll support you. I'll put that in the back burner.
It's a great game.
It is.
But it's plagued with people like Cliff, you know?
Yeah.
What's Cliff do once he gets in? He goes AFK for 6 hours. So if he wants to come back on, he can. And then tells his friends, listen, you can just go AFK with no penalty. Now you need to kick somebody out after a certain amount of AFK time. So you don't have assholes like Cliff.
Yeah.
Fucking just sitting there.
Fucking
bitching about Halo 2, but stealing the experience from everybody else.
See that's the one. That's the one. Don't talk shit and then do that. Because I've got no room to speak. When Endwalker came out for Final Fantasy 14, me and Josh and Jeremy were doing the same thing. The queues were 25,000 player queues. So they were like 4.5 hours. So what we do is we get up in the morning before work early, fucking like we'd have to jam out by like 7 or whatever. We get up at like 4 or 5 in the morning, turn fucking Final Fantasy on and start the queue time. And what was happening is that if you were AFK in the game for X amount of time, it would kick you off. And I think it was like an hour or 2 hours or something like that. So it was like you had to be playing or you wouldn't move. In the game, you can't build a macro in the game because the macro inside the game would just register as one button press and then nothing would happen. But outside the game, you get these fucking sweet little mice. Razors come with macro builds. And if you press a button as a macro build, the game would register it as you actually clicking buttons. So I would go to a training dummy. We ran a macro script that just basically had us pressing 1, 2, 3, 4 in succession. And we would stay logged in. So we would go to work for our 8 hours. We would come home and then we'd be able to raid. And so it's the only way, because there's no way we could get home, sit in a 4-hour queue and then try and fucking raid afterwards. So it was the only way that we could stay active. And like, God forbid if like the servers went down and you got booted for some reason or whatever, you come home and it was like, are you in? Like, I'm in. Like, come home one day, are you in? Like, no, man, I got kicked. Fuck. All right, start the 4-hour. I'll hit you guys up later. You know what I mean? And that sucked. But like, also it's an MMO. It was big at the time. And like raiding was like, we were trying to like do like, not world first stuff, but at least be the first to get into Savage and shit like that. So it was a whole thing. There was a process and a mindset behind it. And it did feel bad. I knew I was like taking somebody else's place that couldn't get into the game. I was like, let's run a macro then. But I have love for that game. I have respect for that game. So, you know, maybe I get a pass. Maybe I've been paying for it for, 10 plus years. Maybe I should get a pass.
Yeah, we'll give you that. You could have that one.
Yeah. So So when Helldivers is that type of situation, it's like, okay, just pump it. But my problem is that I think because PlayStation LLC, like the PC version PlayStation or whatever, is running it, PlayStation is not fast when it comes to updating stuff. They are notorious for taking weeks and weeks and weeks to get shit fucking pushed through. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully I haven't played it in the past couple days or whatever, but hopefully they get the server situation fixed out soon.
Yeah. I feel sorry for Will. Will for like 2 days tried and tried.
So I was like, you can take my spot. I got to go have dinner.
And he still didn't get in. I don't know how much he's actually played because I know he played a little bit with me and you guys that one day.
Mm-hmm.
Was that Friday?
Yeah.
Saturday?
Yeah. One
of those days. He did get in for a little bit, but like him just sitting there and screen, I was like, how much time does your Steam say? Almost 13 hours. Ooh, I know you haven't played more than
he's like level 6 or 7 or something like that. It's like, oh,
when you can't return the game because you've been in the waiting screen for that long.
And see that's the kicker. That's the shit point that like sucks real bad. If you were going to return the game, that feels bad. That's like I can't even play the game. I haven't played at all. Like that feels bad. But
that
again,
was like Outriders for me. Just trying to connect just constantly back and forth. Wanted to return it, couldn't return it. And by the time it was fixed, I have no interest in playing the game.
Right. And so, so now that brings a point to Nightingale. Because Nightingale, again, these are what ex-BioWare devs. It's like their first like game that they've done outside of like a main studio. Haven't taken a lot of big publishing rights. Nothing crazy. They didn't really do a lot of like, early campaign stuff. They didn't take a ton of money ahead of people. I don't even think it was pre-orderable. You know what I mean? Nope. And so
couldn't buy it until it was
today.
Okay, well, it's early access today, so I guess
again, couldn't buy it pre, you can get it early access, and then it is early access. They've stated, they've been very, very open about being like, guys, just please understand that this is an early access game and we're diligently working on it to get the ball rolling. So then when you see it, it's like, it looks good. It works. Well, kinda. The fact that it is you can do it as a single player experience, but it has an only online setup right now.
Yeah.
And not only that, but I guess people have been saying like server stuff has just been borked because it is day one and everybody has been waiting for it. Everybody is jumping on it. You know what I mean? Big name streamers are playing it. Shroud was playing it earlier today. They're playing it for like 5 or 6 hours.
Just now when me and you played it, that's the only time. And I wouldn't even call that a problem, but it took a minute or two to get in servers. Or like when it first launched, I was getting in fine.
Mm-hmm. So they've been saying because it is only online, people have been running into like 200 ping, 300 ping, like fucking real sketchy situations because it depends on what realm they're getting placed into or shit like that, or because it's building like server stuff. So like people are, if you're in Europe or whatever playing the game, I guess the ping is just outrageous. So people have been VPNing into like North American stuff and that's been fucking with servers and shit like that. So there's a lot of just like ick that I don't know if is something that they thought all the way through, or maybe they were just like, again, it's early access. We're just trying to get it out to the public so we can get the ball rolling on this.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think more or less now, like feeling how much it still needs to cook, it feels more like, hey, we've run out of money. Like if we don't try to capitalize on some of this, like we're going to go. And I think right now it's sitting at mixed reviews. And I think the people bitching about it the most are bitching for 2 specific reasons. One, the only online and network stuff. Because I think a lot of people are just like, I want to play the game, but I don't have like good internet. Like, why can't I have a single player experience with this? And 2, the people are just like, it's just fucking boring. It's just like people are like saying like even they're like combat, it feels clunky, and like after 4 hours of gameplay I fucking really haven't done anything, and so it just feels boring. Like the world just feels empty and boring. Like most of it is just a life simulator of like hacking trees and building stuff. And then even when you get to like going to the realms and stuff, they're like still in those types of situations until you have multiple realm cards, or like putting things where it's like swamp card where it's like now you have more enemies and shit like that. It just feels very dead. It's like, okay.
Yeah. So describe your experience for the server test.
Okay. So dropped into the world. I got, talked to Puck, got a bunch of the missions, and it was just basically like, this is how you craft. Build your fucking estate setup, build a house, put the workbench down, make sure you do X, Y, and Z. At a certain point, then it was just like, okay, go fuck off in the world and do things. I didn't even get to the point of being able to go into another realm. Because like, as you were saying, like that's part of your tutorial stuff is like building a realm card and then going to a realm. That wasn't even part of the stress test. So it was literally just go as much as you were. But it also was a scalable thing. Like they allowed you to choose your difficulty or whatever, which I think we can do here. But then depending on which difficulty you chose, there was higher level mobs. You got like different loot and stuff like that. So you were able to like test more stuff out. It felt very much so like PTR. And so my experience was, for the time that I played, boring. Like I thought boars and mobs spawned too fast, which they addressed. So I was thinking more or less when the boars were like spawning constantly over and over and over again, like you're just in a zone and then boars was just spawn, and I was spending 90% of my time killing a boar and then like trying to build a base and killing a boar and trying to build a base. I guess they had addressed that. They were like, hey, we saw the comments, we've reduced the boar spawn. So that was something that they had initially in the game. I wasn't part of the stress test because that's what I was thinking. I was like, it's spawning shit so much. I was wondering if they were just testing the servers just to see how fucking crazy they could push it to make sure like the stuff could handle people and then tons of mobs, tons of things inside of it. But apparently not. It was something they were like, hey, we've dialed it back a little bit. And I was saying specifically when I was playing it, I was like, this stress test feels like this is going to be the final product. It didn't feel like, even when they were saying this isn't going to be the exact experience you're going to get, which it isn't because you built realm cards and went to different realms and stuff like that, right? So like the story progression is not the game that you got, but all the rest of it, the fundamental point of that is exactly what you get. And so when I was playing it, I was like, it just needs to cook. It just needs to cook. It's one of those games that I don't know if buying it now is the answer, but I don't know how long that's going to take before it feels good.
Yeah.
Because like you're talking about like fundamental stuff, like how do you just increase mob spawns in the world to make it not feel so fucking dead?
Yeah. And I'm wondering, it's kind of like a catch-22. It's almost like, well, you just got to give it time. And not just for it to cook, but like for you to maybe like progress into like further into the story, start unlocking stuff. But it's like, if that's the case, you don't even know if it's something that you're going to enjoy until well after you can't return it anymore.
And that's the thing about it. That's what a lot of people are saying, is that they're like, because of how slow it feels in the very beginning, it feels like it's a waste of time to make sure that you hit that 2-hour mark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's a game that is quick to grab your attention because it's super interesting. It's like, we're just going to drag things along. The map is going to be super big. We're going to put points of interest super far away, so you have to mob to those locations. So you just waste that time. So we're hoping.
Like I tried to get through most of like the tutorial stuff. I thought that I was through it. For me and you before the podcast to just kind of like look at it and see, I'm at 108 minutes already.
Yeah.
And I'm still not actually through the tutorial.
Yeah. You're still running it. And that's what a lot of people said. Like even through all the tutorial, like one guy was saying, like after getting through like what is the tutorial stuff where like the game just opens up, he's at like close to like a 4-hour mark. Now, how much of that is you fucking around running, trying to like build stuff and like, getting a little too, like you could build a very small shack and be done with that quest, or you could fucking try and build a giant ass mansion and waste a ton of time. Who knows?
Is the average person gonna fucking speed run a tutorial though to try to
I mean,
figure it out?
But at the same point in time, when you have a game that's designed around building and crafting, are you going to just make a hut, or are you going to try and build a big fucking base? And then it's like, oh, you need 96 logs. It's like, what the fuck? Like, and you just and that was what I felt when I was building on the stress test. Was like, I put down like a dope ass little house, and I was like, this is cool. It was like overlooking like a ravine and all this stuff. I was like, this would be fun. I spent an hour just fucking collecting material to put to the house. And I was like, God damn, this is fucking boring. Like, the beginning part of this game felt boring. And like, it's crazy because the ending of this game feels like where it's like, oh, once you progress to a certain point, you get to like the hub world, you meet other players, and like you go on and do these like raids and dungeons and shit like that, and like these big things where you fight, you know, bosses, and it's like a progression and puzzle system. And it's like, this sounds fucking cool, but for some reason that's 100 hours into the game. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
this isn't survival crafting games should not be. They should not be just get to season 3 because that's when it gets good. You know what I mean? Yeah. So many survival crafting games are like that, where it's like, oh, well, it's super dope once you have all the dope shit fucking 100 hours into the game. It's like, what the fuck? So I got to slog through 100 hours. Like, Josh Hayes, this YouTuber, he does like, this channel where he like reviews and plays like bad MMOs or different games and stuff like that. And he's actually a pretty intelligent dude. Like when he talks about shit, and like his whole thing is a game should be able to grab your attention right off the bat. Like, there's always that thing, especially in MMOs, where get 100 hours in because that's when the game gets good, right? Especially when it comes to MMOs. End game content is usually where the games shine. But you have to still grasp someone's attention to get them through 100 hours of gameplay. So, you know what I mean? And 100 hours, we're not talking about 100 hours straight, right? Like, you could do that fairly easy. You do that a couple weeks. If you played every day,
want to
for fucking 24 hours, right? Yeah, if you wanted to. For the most part, when you play video games, at least the average person, I'm not talking about the streamers and the people that do this for a living in a sense, but you're just talking about the casual, 9-to-5ers, the dads are just sitting down, just trying to get a fucking few hours in a night. 100 hours is a long period of time, that's a couple months of gameplay. And you're also talking about trying to like keep people invested for 100+ hours. 7 Days to Die, at least for my, portion of it as a survival crafting game, it's not something that is, it doesn't hold your hand. Like, it kind of does the tutorial stuff, and then it's like, here's a trader. But there's a situation where, like, after you finish a tutorial, which is relatively quick, collect some shit, build some shit. Here's how you open up your menus. There's a trader, go. You get to the trader, and then it's like, here's your missions. You can just start hitting POIs for missions and stuff like that. And then there's that, like, all of that idea within the first 7 days of the game, if you haven't changed any of the settings, you're going to take on a horde. So that's 7 hours of gameplay for you to understand what the loop is. That's pretty quick. That's a bite-sized chunk, and then you can do whatever the fuck you want with it. And I'm only using 7 days as an example because I play it religiously, But like other survival crafting games.
Well, it's also a good example, though, of the game putting pressure on you to want to progress in it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not hitting it by day 7, like, yeah, you might survive your first horde night with relative ease, but it's like it just keeps ramping up, and all of a sudden those 7 hours start really counting for something.
And it really does. And like when you sit down and play video games, say you sit down for a couple hours, like, it can really, like, 7 days can turn quickly. All of a sudden you're like, I'm fucking around. And then it's like, holy shit, I got a horde tomorrow night. Like, if I'm not ready to go, I'm fuck. And it's like the first, like you said, first 7 days is like, it's fine. By like day 14, you're like, oh, that kind of ramped quick.
Mm-hmm. And
it's like, boom, boom, boom. And like, by the time you're like upwards of like 35, you're like, I really need to fucking pay attention to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Other survival crafting games have that. I think that's where they miss a lot of their stuff, is like they're too open sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I love a survival crafting game that's like, here's the world, do whatever the fuck you want in it, but also here's like an overall goal that you should be achieving. Ark is one of those games where it's just like, There is no rhyme or reason to Ark. Up until the newer DLCs, at least. The newer DLCs definitely like had like, well, you know, there's some missions and stuff that you can do to collect certain, you know, gems and stuff so you can buy things or whatever. But it's just very much so like, here's the world, go fuck off and explore and build. And it's like, okay, that's fine. You know, Valheim is a good example of a really good game when it comes to survival crafting, because it's like, here's bosses. And then you're like, okay, cool. Well, if I explore the world or whatever, you may find another boss or something, but like you also can't progress or do certain things because you didn't do the last boss. You didn't get something to be able to craft whatever item to go from there. So like you understand that loop, like, oh, I've got to do these kind of in succession or whatever to kind of get myself like geared up or like progress far enough that it'll allow me to build the next item or be able to build something that can take on, or like whatever it is with the
kind of locks you behind the crafting.
Yeah. We're like,
but also puts the pressure on you kind of like 7 days where like the woods are shaking, there's shaking, like shit like that. Like it kind of pushes you.
Yeah. The farther the days go, and that the worse the mob spawns happen in the world. So it's like, you definitely, have to be moving and grooving. Nightingale just doesn't feel go, or not even rush go, but just like, the story seems really cool, like the whole Fey realm and like the, you know, the almost like what is it called, not clockwork, was it steampunky kind of vibe to it,
steampunk Victorian.
It's like, oh, this is like a really cool setting in its own, and it's like plop, here's the world, weird shit's going on, cut a tree. It's like, all right. You know,
so I'll say, first watching the stress test, watching the videos, and then like going over your video with you, I had an overly critical eye. I was like, what the fuck? Like, and there's, trust me, there's like, I'm not discounting the things I don't like the animations for grabbing, how everything's just the same thing, like this, like the skinning animals and stuff, chopping down trees, all that just kind of feels lackluster. I don't know if it's deserving of like, oh, this fucking shit game. Like I cut down a tree, it doesn't fall.
No,
I don't know about that.
No,
I feel like there's been a lot of anticipation build up for us specifically.
Yeah.
There's something like the UI stuff where I'm like, it feels like
crafting.
Crafting.
Crafting, I think
layouts.
The button layouts. Oh man, you know what the thing about it is, and this sounds super shitty, it feels like it would play better on a controller.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It does.
Just the fact that it's like, we're like clicking on an item, like you either have to double click it when you're building a base, like you have to double click it, or you have to press accept, or it just doesn't register. Just feels like it feels like a missed opportunity.
And how you can't even like say like I had like a wall up and I was like, oh shit, like I want like a windowed wall. Like the fact that you can't scroll your mouse wheel or like just click tab arrow over to like cycle through options.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of things that just weren't thought all the way through.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like when you're building, like in any other game, I'm trying to think of like how Ark looks. Ark is Ark is old, so it's really hard to base out. I feel like people have progressed farther than Ark nowadays when it comes to survival crafting.
The genre itself.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? I feel like that's a big one. Like just having Q and E to be able to swap between your build stuff after you've already opened it up seems like it's just a smarter way of doing it. Especially like, and like some people are like, well, the lore of it would be, you know, it's like, okay, but
in Halo 2,
I think that the game should have some quality of life stuff. And you know what the thing is like, I don't know if I sent it to you. I took a picture. I don't remember if I sent it to you or not. They put out a notice like, hey, it's going to launch today. So we've opened up the forum so people can kind of like give us some stuff. And it's like, hold on, let me see if I have this fucking picture. It's amazing. It's so smart.
Uh-oh.
It's beautiful. I love it. Here we go. Please keep your posts to a single topic so players can better select the aspects they agree with. Preferred examples of post titles would be, I think bears are too hard to fight. I wish bears are blue. I wish there was moonwalking bears minor cards. please refrain from putting things like overall Nightingale review, 25 things I think Nightingale should add. So even the devs are like, we really want to do better.
Yeah.
We want to make better. Help us by keeping things neat and concise so we can just rifle through it and see what we can pick and choose with. So because I feel like they're investing, it's not just a cash grab. They're not just dumping it and moving away. Well, we'll see. It's got mixed reviews. We'll see what happens. Anything can happen. If they don't capitalize on any financial growth, there's a good chance that it just may never go anywhere. And we've talked about that before. Sometimes it's okay to just let things cook, because it's like, this could be your make or break for this game.
Yeah. It's a bold move and a show of confidence in yourself if this is your release and you plan on keep moving forward. And I hope they do. I'm not writing it off yet. I'm not recommending it yet. You know. I'd like to see how much further I get. Like, I'm still gonna just dick around with it and play it and see when that turning point is, if it comes. Yeah. When things start feeling better.
Not only that, I've picked it up. Well, in our time doing it, I picked it up. I have it. It'll download tonight. So there's also that point of, I want to also get into a world with you and see how the game feels co-op. Because as of right now, the solo player experience is fucking boring. So if there's two people in a map running around, if it's an online only game, it's very much so based around like a community thing. Same thing with like Helldivers. Helldivers is not fun solo. It's fucking hard solo, but I don't know if it's just because the game's hard. I wonder if playing with people in this type of world would make it feel better.
Build a house and fucking
right?
Less than an hour.
Someone goes out and hits wood, someone goes out and hits sticks, and then everything gets fucking built together, and then you just fuck off and try and find things to farm. If that's the case, I'm totally okay with a game that is kind of centered around more like a co-op experience. Like I said, I think
the caveat to that being,
one of us will have to be online.
Well, 108 minutes in and we're still nowhere near the multiplayer part of it, because you have to make it to that social hub to meet up with other players. From my understanding,
I don't know. I don't know. I thought you could. Well, then the end of the tutorial has to put you at the social hub. Should.
How long is the tutorial?
Well, I don't know. It looked like you could join into people's games from the beginning.
Okay, we'll put a pin in that one.
We'll
let you guys know.
That's scary to think about, though.
Yeah.
4 hours before you can play with someone. No way, dude. No way.
That being said, Will has spent a considerable time in Enshrouded, another crafting survival game, kind of all on his own. And we finally saw what that little bastard's been doing.
Yeah.
Goddamn, he's been putting in absolute work.
It's like a rat behind a wall. When you finally pull it down, it's just nested, and it's like, holy shit, what the fuck?
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I jumped into his game, and like, so he was like, "Oh, I'm over here." I'm like, "Where are you?"
It reminds me of fucking Kung Fu Panda. He's built into a fucking like monastery on top of a hill.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Overlooking a misty ravine. Oh my god!
So
it's impressive. And it's well decorated. That's how you know it's been way too much time in game.
Well, I guess him and Aaron have been playing it a lot. I guess since Helldivers has been down, they haven't really been able to get into it. Him and Aaron have been playing Enshrouded a bunch.
That's what I hopped in. Aaron didn't help him build that. Aaron, it was just been Will.
I have not seen that. I have not seen that.
Terraforming into the side of a cliff, building staircases all the way up. Oh, it's impressive.
That's sick. That's sick because like that's cool. When I was playing Enshrouded, I'm like, Enshrouded is cool, man. Enshrouded is a lot of fun. Enshrouded is the better looking Valheim, I guess is the best way to play it.
Yeah. More.
Yeah. There's more too.
Much more.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't even. So Enshrouded looked good. Better looking Valheim. Like that was my like initial take. We were running around, but like Will had already played so much. You were kind of ahead of me too. So like I kind of felt like I was like behind, and I was like, I don't know what we're doing. I was like, oh, we're gonna kill this guy. Okay. So we we kill him and stuff, and like I felt like I was missing a lot. And then I was like, you know what, fuck it. Like, I'm just gonna play with friends. Like, I don't care. I'm just jumping in. So we jumped in, we started going. There's a whole like class leveling system where you can choose to like Aaron's going for like wizard, and like I had no clue that I had like 17 skill points just chilling.
Yeah.
Like you press the button and you can actually like decide like you,
It's like a
you
web,
get up your moves.
Yeah.
I thought it was all gear based,
Oh,
just like Valheim.
Okay.
Like you just get good gear and that's it. And like your like stamina, your life, that's all dependent on like what you eat, because it does have that aspect to it. But I had no fucking like my eyes are open now, you know?
And it's sick that
I'm actually pumped.
It has that
play it.
It has that Valheim Moria type of experience where you can play in your own world, level up, do whatever the fuck you want, and then if you join a friend's world, you just take whatever you have with you. You know what I mean? You don't take all the mats and stuff you farm, but whatever you're currently wearing gear wise, you can take in another person's. So like it doesn't hurt sometimes to like play on your own, have a character, and then join a friend's world if they're either behind or ahead, like depending on things going, you know.
And it also has the aspect where you can have multiple characters with multiple like say you're playing with X whoever Will, and he's like a fighter, and you have a wizard, but then you're playing with somebody else. You have another character that you've also been working on that you wanted to play like rogue and stuff. It kind of changed the game for me, you know.
And it definitely feels like even like the beginning bosses and stuff, or if a lot of it is just like map it out so you can then do things a little bit later, because it seems like the progression on that is like there's a lot. That map is fucking huge. What?
So one thing that will be said, they give you about a third of the map. We did find the end of early access line where if you go over it. Yeah, that hurt. That one hurt.
I mean, it's okay.
There's still plenty to do.
There's still plenty to do.
But that did a little like Will's like, oh, I found a red line. What? There's a red line in a wall in the sky. Oh, if I go, it says end of early access map. And we were like,
I mean, it's not bad. I think that's also a problem with this genre, is that there's just all of it is early access. All of it is just, it's either quick cash grabs or just like, I don't know if the survival genre, the survival crafting genre has really had like a win. There's been nothing that's, I mean, Valheim is a good example of like a win. I feel like that game was in early access and then hit 1.0. You know what I mean? It didn't start in 1.0. I feel like all of them hit, like Project Zomboid, 7 Days to Die, fucking Enshrouded, Nightingale. God, there's a few others I'm thinking of. I mean, and there's so many survival and crafting games I have on my Steam list of games that no longer exist, that are just dead games. Devs just walked away and gave up on them. I mean, there's a fucking list, Brad. There's at my Steam list, there's probably close to like 40 games that are survival crafting games that were like looked promising and then just kind of went. There's a game called Savage Lands that was super fucking dope, and like it got to the point the dev was like, I'm not making any money on this. I don't want to do this anymore. It just walked away. I was like, oh, all right, bye.
Yeah,
you know, I just feel like the genre it's too samey across the board.
Early access,
huh?
Plagued by early access.
Plagued by early access. Too samey. I think I was talking to Aaron about this. The hard one is like, how do you make an early access game that is going to like grab a person and be like, that's the game I have to play. I'm quitting all other games. Like I'm looking for the game that's like, I'm no longer going to play 7 Days anymore.
I don't think that game exists. And I don't think it ever will.
I mean, for me, it could. I mean, no one will play 7 Days with me. Like no one finds the enjoyment I find in 7 Days. And I don't know if the enjoyment I have.
I don't mind it, but I don't find the enjoyment that you do. I think you, fucking Jawoodle, Mr. Glock guy,
Glock 9.
fucking, yeah, Glock 9. Like I think there's a handful of people
Neebs.
that you are the 1%. Yeah, you guys are the 1% that's just like, I fucking love it.
I do. It's just I don't. There's also that question of like, do I love it because I have so much knowledge on it and so much time?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Or is it I love it because I really do find it as a good game? Like when I like break down 7 Days, it's like it's not the greatest thing in the world. There's a lot of rough points with 7 days.
Yeah.
I don't know. Right now, the 7 Days of Shop series, I've got a couple episodes. I got to finish one tonight for tomorrow's episode. You know, we've went back out to the wasteland. We're gonna build up a horde base at that fucking like that gas shop. Like we're moving and grooving. There's some funny shit that's going on, and like a lot of it right now is me just like I went out there with no mats, so I've just like, okay, this is what I got. I've got like 3 days to build a horde base on this fucking thing. I need to go. I need to get this going. And so it's a lot of just panic and like thinking and like, okay, I still got to hit missions. I still got to get fucking gear. I need to find mats. That's a big one right now, is just getting enough stuff to find mats and then try and put all this stuff together. I think I'm like, right now I'm recorded up to day, I think 34. And so I've got 34, 35 and like I'm at Horde Night in the wasteland with like, and I've leveled up the difficulty. I've done all this stuff and I made it challenging. And again, that's the whole point of like the way I play 7 days is I add a challenge to it. Like even the drunk boxing video, I've literally, I'm not touching any other weapon but fists. And like, I'm trying to get to my 7 days on that one. Like I've just been recording intermittently with that one. It's kind of just like a side project, but like, I'm like weirdly terrified to take on a horde with just fists.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing else. No other, no pokes, no guns, no nothing. Just fucking straight fists. And for the whole horde night and see what happens, you know? It's either going to go great or it'll be a very, very short series. But I think first time
you got it.
Yeah.
First horde, I think you'll be okay.
Yeah.
So when you start getting second and third, that's what I'm starting.
I have the difficulty cranked up on that one. I have the difficulty cranked up on that, and I have max hordes. So like I'm actively trying to like make it as difficult as possible. And I think that's what I enjoy about 7 days is that I play it like a roguelite, right? That idea that when I die, that's it. I permadeath it, wipe it, start over from scratch. And so, and then the next game I play with, I give myself my own challenge or something to do differently, or like I'm only going to do a very specific thing or only play a very specific way or swap it up. Because I know what I could just make a big ass fucking horde base that I know will just chomp through everything. You know what I mean? But how fun is that to just like basically AFK during a horde night and not do anything? Like, yeah. And so like having challenges stuff, and that's what I like about 7 days that I wish more survival crafting games had, is that type of loop where you can make it like a roguelite, or you can give yourself your own challenges. So there's a very specific way of playing that may be very different from something else. And I feel like Enshrouded kind of has that with how you build your character. You know, if you build it in a very specific way through a tree, it's like, well, you know, you're hard focusing on one set here. Like you can't go elsewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I think 7 days, like to summarize what you're saying, 7 days, I think you take enjoyment because you can play the game how you want to play it. Like they have a thing like this is about like what you do and this is how you can get through the game. But like 7 days, I think is unique in the way that like we make our own games within the game.
Yeah. Yeah, and absolutely.
I think that's really hard to replicate.
That is
like 7 days kind of nailed it. And I don't see that a lot in other games where it's like, all right, like this is the game, but like, we're going to play it this way. Like we're going to create a horde base. Everybody has like an hour. We're going to do this. Even like you created a multiplayer map within the game, you know?
Yeah.
It gives you the freedom to like, if you're done playing the game this way, it doesn't mean you have to be done playing the game. Right. There's lots of different ways to play it.
Absolutely. There's so I've been watching and playing a lot of Project Zomboid. I maybe it's just that time frame. They both came out in like 2013, you know what I mean? Maybe there was just an idea that was there in that time period. The genre hadn't really blown up. There was just this thing. Project Zomboid's another one of those games where I've been watching people that the way that they play it, they make their own character, they give themselves a very specific way of doing things and challenges and shit like that. Like the mods for Project Zomboid are fucking outrageous. And so like a lot of people have this stuff built around a way that they want to play. I'm only going to live out of an RV. I'm going to build my own base in the woods. I'm not doing anything but crafting, take on weapons, stuff like that. And then people do all this stuff. And part of me is like, man, that looks fun. Like I try to even record stuff like that and like do it. That game is just fucking hard, man. It's just hard. It's like you don't progress very fast because like a lot of it, like I record and I'm like, all right, man, I'm making some fucking progress and dead. Okay, let's go on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, but that's like when if we trail back onto Nightingale, I think the thing that this game is doing, we're talking about playing our own way or making our own content within content or stuff like that. I think that this game's loop of building your own zones, getting certain cards to like kind of mix and match. I wonder how many different variations you can end up with in the very end before you start to cycle back to the same stuff. But if it is procedurally generated and every land looks a little different or something like that, like I think that that's a cool idea. I think that that's a cool idea that that should be their focus. Like, yeah, do all the quality of life stuff, but like just make sure that that portion of the game is quality. And I feel like it would just succeed on its own just from that.
I think that was the draw for us. It was like a survival thing, but like you have these formulas, if you will, the cards that like make every land different and give you different materials and stuff. Like was kind of like the step. I know we were looking for like a survival-y game that we could all play. We were on the heels of like The Forest and Children of the Forest and all the shit like that. And we were looking for something that wasn't like Conan. It wasn't a game that everybody had played. We kind of wanted to all start at the same point together, which I guess if by this point means that we're still not doing that. If me and you're the ones doing it, but
yeah,
looking for something that like somebody doesn't already have a wealth of knowledge where they're like, oh, you didn't know like this, X, Y, Z, you know?
Yeah,
we can kind of discover it together.
Well, that was the thing about Enshrouded. It's like I'm really glad that Will jumped into it when he did. But then it was like when we were playing with Will was just like fucking beeline it. But he had been playing solo for so long, he didn't realize that loot wasn't shareable. So he just blasted through picking up the treasure chests. Like, all right, Will, fuck you then, man. Like, I just wanted to play it a little bit.
My stone axe.
Yeah, he's like, oh, this isn't shareable? My bad. Hold on, let me split it up. And it's like, okay, that's fun, but you know.
Yeah.
I feel like Clorf in that aspect, you know? When he comes in late in the game, he's like, well, this is not fun. You guys already have mods and shit running. It's like, okay, good point. Good point. I understand where you're coming from on that. So what do we just sit on Nightingale then? If we're the only two people that have even touched it, I'm not, like I said, I'm not recommending it to the group. At least right now, I'm going to give it.
One of us, I'll take it. I'll take it, but one of us has to play it long enough to at least report back something positive at this point. It's like, we just heard that the Donner Party happened up at Donner Pass. Like, do you want to go? No. Okay, somebody has to go up there to be like, the snow's gone, we're good. We can go.
Exactly. You know? Right. Kicking the bones out of the way. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, you're more than welcome to it. Like I said, I'm going to play it a little bit because I want to see if it's again, when you watch something, like I played the stress test and then I watched you play it. Like when you watch something, it may not always have the same feel.
Yeah,
I'm looking for that feel. I'm looking for I'm wanting to see something in the game that, like you said, that positive thing that hits and it's like, oh wait, if you can get through the bullshit, this is really cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, as long as the bullshit isn't like, all right, just slug through fucking 50 hours and it's dope as shit. You know what I mean? Because I can't expect I can't expect people, especially our group with our low attention span. You know what I mean? Being in that.
We got a fucking problem.
Well, not only that, but we're also now looking at another game that doesn't have an ability to do server-based stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, Arc didn't last. Well, Arc lasted long, especially for Aaron, but like for the rest of us, it didn't really go farther than like a few little things. Valheim was probably the only thing that really kept our attention at a certain point, but...
Is Arc down? Is the server down?
I don't think so. I think I saw him playing.
I don't think I've been on in about a week, but...
Yeah, I haven't touched Arc in a hot minute. I've also been super busy. Like, I've just not been... Actually, I take that back. I haven't been super busy, but my time invested in video games has been like Final Fantasy 14. I've been just grinding out other classes. I just got a wild hair up my ass to like level up a bunch of classes to 90, and I've just been stuck in there.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's a weird time.
We're stagnant.
It's not.
Yeah, we're stagnant.
Helldivers is here.
Helldivers is okay. Helldivers is here, and we're just waiting in line.
Oh, bro, talk about waiting in line. Pearl Jam is coming to Sacramento. Shut the fuck up. Just let me get through this. I love Pearl Jam. I grew up on Pearl Jam, bro. My first concert was Pearl Jam. I saw Pearl Jam. My dad took me to Pearl Jam. God, where was it? Frisco? Maybe. I think it was something like that. I was almost 3 years old. I don't even think I was a full 3 years old. I think, or I just crest the 3-year-old mark. I like remember. So it was my dad, my cousin Steve, and my cousin Steve's friend Big J, who's like, he's like fucking almost 7 foot tall. And I remember we went to go see Pearl Jam. Big J had me on his shoulders, and I'm a big fucking dude, bald head, and I was like holding on to Big J's head. And my dad and Steve were walking in front of Jay, and they were like, "Hey, watch out! There's a kid back here!" And people were just parting the way, and we were just walking up towards the stage. It was like an outdoor fucking show or whatever.
Yeah.
And like the whole time, like I was just on it, and like, I just remember my dad being like, "You knock this fucking kid off! Like I'm gonna kill you!" And then so like we get up to a point, and like all the people like see me on Big J's shoulder, and they're like making sure like the pits are like opening up, and like people are like, "Hey, there's a kid over here! There's a kid over here!" Like, and I just remember just sitting rocking out to fucking Pearl Jam as a kid, bro. 3 years old, guaranteed. That's where my fucking hearing loss started.
Oh yeah,
100%. Just jamming to fucking loud music at 3 years old, just hanging out on top of a fucking giant man's head. Anyway, Pearl Jam's coming to Sac. And I'm like, oh, they just launched a new album. It's fucking crazy. I haven't seen Pearl Jam in forever. It'd be dope to go see them.
They launched a new album?
Yeah. They brought out a new album. What I mean...
So how does Pearl Jam sound when their voice is going?
That's the thing.
I know what's going on with like
Vedder's voice. Oh, just as fucking as ever.
Well, I was gonna say, you take that,
no, dude,
just make it hoarser.
Vedder sounds so good, dude, so good. I just listened to the new single. The album has, I don't think of the album, or the album just came out or whatever, but I just listened to the single. I was like, oh my god, this sounds great, fucking great. Old grunge dudes just still rocking. Fuck yes, let's go. You know, where's Korn? Where's Creed? Nowhere to be found. Where's Pearl Jam? Still at the fucking
Creed's
front.
making a comeback. Yeah, they got a wave. The fucking the internet just fucking Brendan Frasered them.
Yeah.
They're like, we're bringing you back.
Pearl Jam's never had to fucking do a hiatus. They've never had to do a reunion tour. They've never had to do any of that. They've been fucking
okay. They've never had to do a reunion tour. Never had to do a hiatus. They have. Their boat has sailed. We can admit that.
The fuck are you talking about?
You are the youngest person by a decade and a half to be like, dude, they're coming.
Yeah, absolutely. No way. A decade? 15 years, you think?
Yeah.
Fuck no, dude.
To be like genuinely pumped.
10 came out in 91, dude. That album was amazing. So, like, their first album? Oh, fuck yeah. I listened to that shit. 3 years old, baby. I was there. I'm diehard. I am born and bred into Pearl Jam, baby.
Yeah, but that's like, okay. That's like saying, fuck.
I didn't have to listen to fucking.
That's like saying, like, what are you talking about? Yanni came out in fucking 93 and he dropped his fucking Sounds of Love mixtape.
Sure.
Not mixtape, but whatever the fuck Yanni would call it. Okay, who is Yanni's predominant fucking audience? Is it old women? Is it? Okay, so you saying Pearl Jam coming out in 91, they never graduated to dad rock. I'm pretty sure they almost invented dad rock.
I mean, grudge was dad rock. The reason why we have dad rock is because
there was grudge and there was dad rock, and then there was a grudge dad rock. They were the first of the dad rock.
Grudge just transitioned into dad rock.
They came out of a fucking laboratory and they're like, what do you call that? It's dad rock.
Dad rock.
Codename Pearl Jam.
Dad rock is what we call it. It's just rock.
It's dad rock.
What is dad rock? Dad rock is Creed.
Like an offshoot of the Eagles. Just like, what is it? There's rock. There's the Eagles, it's like that intermediate buffer, and there's the first of their kind.
No, that's
Pearl
like
Jam.
The Eagles and like Journey are in the same fucking category.
Ooh, but Journey get carried in by like love ballads.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's
There's
Eagles,
ballads,
dude.
There's
Like,
Hotel California, and there's fucking.
yeah, but grunge. Think of grunge. Grunge was like Stone Temple Pilots, Pearl Jam, fucking Nirvana.
Stone Temple Pilots. Okay, yeah, Nirvana. Okay, yeah, not dad rock. Would not call it dad rock
because it was grunge at the time.
Dad rock.
Oh,
Pearl Jam, dad rock.
No way,
Yeah.
no way. Dad rock for me is like when
You can say grunge ended when fucking Kurt Cobain started his shotgun, but fucking Pearl Jam was lying in wait, waiting to take the fucking genre and be like,
Creed is grunge.
Come with me.
Creed was grunge.
Yes.
But they are considered dad.
Christian grunge.
But the grunge,
Heavy Christian
oh
overtones.
God, whatever. Who gives a fuck? But it was grunge.
You gotta sing.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that because it's just a genre of music. It was grunge, and now they're dad rock. Creed is dad rock.
Okay, but that's like saying like fucking like EDM. EDM's EDM. No, there's a big difference between Dead Mouse, Skrillex, fucking Benny Benassi. Like there is vast offshoots in completely separate directions of house, drum and bass.
Sure,
like,
but EDM is like a feel. It's like, okay, I will agree to that. I will agree to that. But I am not saying
rock, grunge, like it's close.
No way.
It's close.
No way. No, because what we think of like I want to say like Puddle of Mud is like what dad rock is now.
That's divorced dad rock. There's a difference. no, that's like fucking like this was rock in high school. Like that's Clorf rock.
Oh,
that's a rock that is centered in that was cool in high school. Korn is right on the fringe of that too.
They were all cool in high school though. That's the whole point. Korn, Creed, like, yeah, I would even say that Pearl Jam was cool in high school. Well, Pearl Jam was cool.
Easy.
That's
cool
dad
in
rock.
Middle school. It was cool to your dad.
It was cool to me.
That's why it's dad rock.
It was cool to me. I've seen.
You're an anomaly. You need to accept that you're an anomaly. You don't speak for the vast population.
I've seen Pearl Jam 3 or 4 times now, not including when I was fucking 3 years old.
Yeah, everybody in the comments, if you're under the age of 40 and you've seen Pearl Jam once, can you just leave a thumbs up? Put this to fucking bed right now.
That's bullshit, man. That's bullshit. But I've also
Is it?
Yeah, because I've seen Tool a bunch of times. I've seen Disturbed. I've seen fucking Godsmack.
Tool's an anomaly. Godsmack, divorced dad rock.
100%. I'll agree.
I'm telling you,
I'm not doing
if it
the
was cool when you're in
divorce.
high school and you had a baby right out of high school and you got divorced and you're trying to be cool with your kids, like this is what I used to do. That's fucking divorced dad rock. Dad rock is you have the kids still and you're taking them to concerts to get those front row seats. There are anomalies and offshoots that live within the same realm
That would have been,
but do not identify to one or the other.
the question then comes, at what point does our music nowadays become the divorced dad rock? I went to go see All American Rejects, and I could tell you that's where it's starting to slide into that genre.
Yeah, they're falling into it. You know why? Because it was sick to high schoolers who listened to it all the way until they got divorced. Divorced dad rock. Say it with me.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
You know it's not divorced dad rock? Nelly Air Force Ones. Not just because it's not rock, because it's a classic that will live forever.
No, it's because you were always a baby daddy. Listen to it. You were never fucking married to be divorced.
Touche. Baby daddy R&B.
Yeah, there you go.
It's the new genre.
New genre. Oh my god. Fucking hell. Okay, wait. So what I was trying to say is I was like super excited to go see it. Tickets are like $500 a pop.
Okay, Pearl Jam still might be hitting that.
I was like, oh shit.
The tickets are going for that
I was
much.
like, there's no fucking way. Not a golden one. I'm not spending $500 a ticket for nosebleeds. Like, get the fuck.
And it's golden one?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was like,
they're still hitting.
No way.
Dad rock's still in.
Fucking Christ. It makes me feel old. It makes me feel old.
Who else is playing? There may be a stipulation.
I don't know. I don't know what the lineup is. I have not looked at the lineup.
Because that's like saying like, oh, Boys to Men's playing Golden One, but it's like, but it's a festival with 35 other people
Yeah.
from the same fucking era.
They're headlining because it is a new album, and I'm assuming they'll have like a couple fucking.
I don't know. Depeche Mode headlined Golden One.
Yeah, but Depeche Mode is for fucking weird people, though. I would not go to
it's kind of like a furry convention.
Yeah, you know what I mean? The only people that went to Depeche Mode were Depeche Mode fans. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And they were like, they're rabid. Someone's got Depeche Mode tattooed on their chest.
Leave a thumbs up in the comment.
All right, let's wrap this fucking thing up. Don't play Nightingale. Come see fucking Pearl Jam with me. All right, we'll catch you guys next week. Bye.
Dad Rock. Baby Daddy R&B.